Ba-ba-da-ba-da-bum. We're just looking for stuff to watch, and I don't know what it's going to be, but I know it's gonna be on the paranormal side of things. Bob, bob, some three-eye atlas.
smaller. However, professional astronomers have access to telescopes that are up to 10 meters in diameter. So those should give us amazing views of Three Atlas, and we haven't seen the reports yet. But I'm hoping, when Three Atlas came closest to the sun, that was October 29th. It was hiding behind the sun. So during the daytime, when you were looking in the direction of the sun, you could imagine Three Atlas being behind it. If Earth was 6 months earlier in that location, along the orbit of the Earth, close to that location, we could have taken a radar image of three Atlas, because we have existing radar systems that shine radio waves on objects and receive the reflected signal, and from that you can map objects. And I calculated that with a size of order kilometers or more for Three Atlas, we would have gotten an image of it. And as it's rotating every 16 hours, we would get a three-dimensional map of the object. But we didn't get that because it came there when we were on the other side of the sun. So we could have known everything about its shape, because radio waves penetrate through the plume of gas.
And we were able to do that.
We would have been able,
right?
Also, if we had the same infrastructure on Mars, we could have done it, but we don't. We don't have radars on Mars.
Wow.
Well,
So it would have been really nice
there.
if we could do that. And it's something to think about for the future in terms of, and by the way, I had a podcast interview just a few days ago. The former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, invited me. And he said, Avi, what you have done in recent months in terms of increasing awareness to space exploration is more than was done ever before.
Right.
And so he congratulated me for doing that. And, for me, the biggest reward that I get is, obviously, if it turns out to be a technological object, it's the biggest discovery ever, and it will change the future of humanity. And politics, financial markets, everything will respond to it. However, just being able to get the public attention to science is extremely important, because right now, many people feel that science is an occupation of the elite. And I don't see it that way. I see it as an opportunity to pursue our curiosity, and listening to the public is an important part of that. And the public resonates with my message. I have more than 100,000 followers on my essays on medium.com. And these are not tweets that take you a few seconds to read. They take 5 minutes to read. And I get a huge volume of emails from all around the world. And some of them I posted, actually, some of those. And some of those emails are from parents, like a mother that says, thank you for exciting my kid to become a scientist. He now wants a telescope for the holidays as a gift. And a father that is a former U.S. Air Force pilot said, because of you, my daughter now wants to become a scientist. She keeps talking about aliens, and that's what excites her. Now, how often can you get kids excited in science? And I cannot see a better reward than that. So that by itself, to me, is the best I could hope for. And as I always say, it's not about me. It's about explaining that science can bring us to a better place if it's done with humility to learn something new and with attention to what the public cares about. These are two ingredients that are, for some mysterious reason, not followed in academia. So instead of saying $10 billion to microbes, we should say billions of dollars to both technological signature and biological signatures.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And also to that point, how much do the universities or the government space research groups of different nations work together in regards to looking at this kind of stuff and corroborating stuff.
Right. So the European Space Agency does collaborate with NASA on a number of projects. They have mutual projects that are funding at the same together, and some are led by ESA and some are led by NASA. But they definitely speak with each other. NASA's budget obviously allows it to pursue more ambitious goals. And then you have other space agencies like the Chinese Space Agency, and they are now, as a matter of national pride, they get a lot of support from the government. They try to get to the dark side, the other side of the moon. Not the dark side, the other side of the moon.
It's not always dark, right?
It's not always dark. They are trying to have ambitious projects that would demonstrate that they were first to do it. And so they also have a mission on Mars. That
China does.
Yeah. So in fact, they did release some photos of 3i Atlas when the government shutdown took place in the US. And ESA also did that. And so there is definitely a race to space, and it has some national pride aspects, just like during the 60s, with the race between the Soviet Union and the US. But it also has some scientific benefits and some national security benefits.
Yeah.
And, there are interesting
Once it gets to the next bar, I'm going to go ahead and switch.
points that if you establish a base on the moon, obviously it will offer some strategic benefits also to national security. And the White House did come up with a need to define time on the moon because, clocks are ticking differently on the moon than on Earth. Did you know that?
Well, I know the day there is about 2 weeks
Oh,
here.
no, that's not the issue. If you just take a clock and put it there on the moon versus on...
Alrighty. That was interesting. It was. Let's see. What kind of podcast we got going on, fellas? New to me. I was looking up a lot of computer stuff earlier, of course. Now it's just all of my recommendations. I was looking to upgrade because my webcam that's connected to or pre-installed in the laptop only runs 720p but 60 hertz. So I'm gonna boost that to 4K, baby. And the reason for that, so you can see my pretty face in more clarity. That's pretty much what it comes down to. I'm not very good at doing these reaction videos because I sit there and listen and don't say anything. Oops. I don't know. History. What's going on history? Alright. Old world destruction. This guy's pretty popular.
We have exposed the fire narrative right here on this channel. We have shown how the old world buildings, the previous civilizations work. Hold the fire narrative.
Nah. Can't. Anyone that plays music on their videos, it's hard for me to watch because once this uploads, I have to go in there and do the copyright, say, hey, sorry, I didn't mean to do that, and erase it. Erase the music. Everything else stays. Every other audio stays, but the music gets taken out and it takes a couple hours and it's not a fun process. Pretty much is what I'm trying to say here. An error. It says that I have poor connection. What the flip? Always was something with this thing. Well, I think it's working now. This is the kind of stuff that annoys me with technology, because you're sitting there and you're thinking everything's good, and then boom, nothing's good. It's all bad. Polaseta paputupa. My front door just opened and it just scared the shit out of me. That's what you just seen. My front door just opened. That's insane. That literally just freaked me out. Hold up. I'm just I'm just going to assume that was the wind because it has been windy. But dang, I thought someone was busting in here, dude. That was freaky. Live reaction. Yeah. Wow. That was weird. Um let's see here. Derp with Kurp. He has some good stuff. He has a new video out actually.
Soy de neuf.
Hold on, I'm getting a message to try Gemini in Google Chrome. Now, I don't know if that's occultic, but it feels like it. Try Gemini. All right, so around what time you say this was? Were you doing the blog? Like what year roughly?
So it was in 2011. I was actually I had a break before I started grad school, a 2-year break, and I was so used to researching and regurgitating and writing that I remember I graduated from undergrad, and I started playing online poker. This is back when you could play online poker with just pennies, you know what I mean? Like I was just playing just to screw around. I was like, I'm gonna be a poker all-star, you know?
Yeah.
And I found it boring after a couple months. I was like, this sucks. So
no, that's when people turn to close-up magic.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. I know David Icke was the one that and it was a mixture of things, right? It was a mixture of consuming Ancient Aliens stuff, Joe Rogan, David Icke, and all these sort of, and Bill Cooper, who's my red pill daddy is Bill Cooper from Behold a Pale Horse, right? And those guys kind of indoctrinated me into this worldview, and I was sharing those ideas, and it gained a lot of traction. So one thing led to another, and I started writing books and podcasting, and here we are.
Have you been approached by any real Weishaupt to stop using the Weishaupt name?
No. Someone threw me in some. There was a group chat on the Instagram of a bunch of Weishaupts that they threw me in. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to it.
I mean, Weishaupt's probably not that guy's real name from the Bavarian one anyway, right? I mean,
probably.
This guy's got like 3 or 4 names.
Yeah. Yeah, the secret names is always a part of the occult system, right?
Well, it's like the gods, it's all kind of the same gods, and they're changing their names like they're Diddy, like they just did a crime, and now I got to change my name.
Right.
I mean, all these stories of the gods, they just sound like really shitty rich people.
Yeah,
that's what they sound like.
Yeah,
and that's who these occultists kind of try to make contact with it, and we'll get into this kind of stuff.
You mean today, like our president Janus, the two-faced Roman, the guy at the threshold of the doorway of something Ghostbusters? Yeah.
There's a magical element to all of this, because magic is a way for people to make contact with these deities and these entities, and they use secret magical names because they can't have the public knowing their real name, because then it has, because in this whole system of gematria, numerology, Twilight language, there's an energetic component to someone's real name.
Okay. So wait, there is, and that's why you got the names of God, and you're not supposed to say the name because that implies limits. to the unlimited, right? That's like what's the blasphemy of that. And that's what the power Adam and Eve is, or at least Adam, but probably both of them, right? I mean, she's made out of ribs, but their power is naming the animals. And Tracy Twyman's got a whole thing about like there's something to where they had this power of naming the animals really good. Now, that's really interesting. What is that? What could they be talking about? And I always think about stupid
Why is my
quantum atom horseshit where they're not anywhere until you look at them. There's something about you, like what do you call it? Phase locking something into a shape. And that's what that's why they got to hijack us with
my
bullshit all the
frames are
goddamn
really
time.
bad right now.
Because I need your projector to project a form for me. So I need to lay the groundwork of what I could look like, all these templates. And then when I project myself through your fucking eyes, like the parasite I am,
we're going to be getting
reflect what you've been preloaded with.
That's
We're going to be getting a lot of snow here in Cincinnati. It's going to snow 3 days in a row. Oh no. Oh no.
you're on the money there, because that was one of my formative parts of my journey was because I went to school for engineering, right? So I was in a class for physics. I took 2 courses of physics, and we talked about quantum in physics too. And it really blew my mind. And at the time, I was getting into really new agey stuff, and you know, what the bleep do we know is what it's called, like a movie and a book, and law of attraction. And what you're talking about is kind of like collapsing the wave, and it doesn't really exist until you look at it. And that is kind of it's fascinating stuff, but it is connected into some of this occult way of, you know, manifestation, law of attraction stuff, where you can kind of create your own world and reality and so on.
Well, you can, but the thing is, it's somewhat democratic, so that's why you got to manipulate the consensus vote for what that reality will be. So that's the real magic, is having the plane of cause, which is like I own a media platform. That's why I always talk about your platform. Your platform. Like, remember that became the word for everybody's goddamn show, or your blog was a platform, and all of a sudden you have a platform and you have to.
All right. I'm going to have to do something here.